Ready.
So here we have a situation where most people look at, they say, where are my lucky stars? I've been researching that sort of stuff for probably since the early 90s, to be quite honest. And it came out of me trying to prove whether astrology had or planets I should say, had a physical effect on the outcome of events. And I found they did. So what I'll do is I'll give you a bit of a sneak preview. This is a lecture I did in August of 2020 for the International Academy of Astrology, I think it is, IAA, and an online lecture at that stage. And it'll give you a bit of a run through on how we can pick horse race winners. Now there's a lot more to this than meets the eye, but this will give you some insight and set you up to understanding. There is one other thing, I'm just going to grab it now. See this book? Anybody who's serious about wanting to know how to do it is going to need something like the rulership book from Rex Bills. Anyway, enjoy this video and hit me up with questions, and I'll keep you posted on when I will open up more and more about how we do this. So I started doing a lot of my own research, and that's really where this came about. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to find out whether the planets actually had a physical effect on us, i.e., would they, like it says here, affect the outcome of an event, or are they affecting us in any particular way? So what I needed to study, or what I needed to find, was an event that was of short duration, that I knew in advance when it was going to happen and where it was going to happen, and it was going to have an outcome. And the only thing I could think of was a horse race, because we knew by calendar that, in Melbourne at Caulfield, this particular race is going to run at this particular time, and here's your horses in the race, and we're going to have an outcome, we're going to have a winner. So I started utilizing that as a way of determining, and what I primarily did, and this is the key to a lot of stuff, was that I looked for whether a particular planet had more impact on the outcome of an event. So what that meant, and I will go through that in a minute. Actually, no, I'm going to keep going and I'll go through that in a minute. So what I'm going to do first, and those who have sat through this before, I don't want you to say anything. I'd like you, those who haven't sat through this, to have a look at these horses and the chart that's there. And this is the particular race, and you can see it was run on the 5th of August, which is quite interesting. It was only a few days ago, 25 years ago. But there's your horses in the race by name, and there's your chart. I want to give everyone 3-4 minutes just to have a quick look at there and see if you can pick the winner. I'd just like to see if you can pick the winner. I know this sounds a little bit boring, but it's not. There's a reason for it. I just want to see, and there's method in my madness, let's put it that way. So I'll give everyone a few minutes to just look at that chart and tell me if they can pick a winner. And then write it in your chat box what you think it is. And for those who already know, no cheating. Okay, Barbie's got Mountain High. Barbie, you want to add why you think that? Gut feeling, particular planets, particular way of seeing it? Peter, yes, basically you're looking at your chart. There's your horses in the race. Based on the planetary energies that you're seeing, which one would you think would be the winner? And if it's okay, so let's say you're using Mars, which horse would be the winner? This is going to be the anyone who's watching the boring part of the video. You have to fast forward by a minute. But I'm giving this. Anyone else want to have a go other than Peter and Barbie? Because of the 11th house. Okay, thanks, Barbie. Mountain High because of Mars on the midheaven. Okay. All right. What about we just work with those two and we see what's there? Now, let me show you who won. Freddie, number 11, which is Sun Napper. Okay, Freddie, let's have a look. Coup d'armes because Mars is a coup. Okay, all right. I look at it this way. I break down the rulers of those particular horses by name and write down their astrological rulerships. Now, taking that into consideration, I'm also looking at the fact that you've got, like you said, Peter, Mars is on the midheaven. So what I'm doing is I'm looking for a horse that's going to have Mars predominantly as its ruling, as its ruler for this particular race. The reason being is because a planet on the midheaven should theoretically, if you think about the philosophy of does a planet have an effect on us, at that moment in time above that particular race, that's the planet that's going to have the most energy, you could say, if you want to put it that way, coming down towards the Earth because it's directly above you at that point in time. So in this case, it's Mars, and we're looking for that. So I'm going to look for all the horses with Mars in it. I've jumped ahead, but I'm going to go back quickly. Hopefully no one saw it, but they probably did. And you're going to look and see that you've got, I would say, Ceto Bridge. Being a bridge, it's Saturn. Ceto means, and I have to move this little thing here, an inland sea, that's right, or a strait. So therefore I look at Neptune put in that as well. Seattle, now understand for us here in Australia, Seattle is a foreign city. It's in the US, but if you're in the US, it's not a foreign city, if you know what I'm talking about. So I put it down as Saturn with a bit of Jupiter and Neptune because of the sailor component, but also have a question mark over Mars because a sailor could be male, but then again, a sailor now could be female. So we've got a real mixture of energies there. Coup d'armes, a coup being a uprising, to me is more of a Mars with Uranus, so Uranus with Mars. Flying fortress would be Jupiter, Saturn, Mars. But the point of this, if you're going through them there, and I'll try and keep this fairly quick, the only horse that stands out with just Mars as its ruler, in my case, is Henry. And the reason for Henry is because Henry is a male name. So if you think of how do you know Henry? Henry is known as a man. That's a man's name. He's Mars, 100%. So who won the race? Let's have a look. It was Henry. So here's an example where you've got Mars on the midheaven. It didn't really matter about all those 11th house planets in this case, and Mars was winning the race. Now, how this came about and what was interesting, and this is why I started to look at this going back to about 1992, 1993, even though these examples show 1995, there's some from all over the place. What happened to me in the beginning was that I looked at this and I started pulling this apart like this and looking for races with a particular horse with a planet on the midheaven and seeing if they won. And when I first started this, I think I worked out I had 10 winners in a row that I backed. And some of these I've used as examples in here. Henry is one of the, he wasn't the first, but he was an example of one that was how it came about. When I first started studying this, I went, oh my God, the mathematical chance of me picking a winner every single time, 10 in a row, it's just crazy. Now, what I used to do was I'd put a little bit of money on. I go, okay, if I'm going to back it, I'm going to back myself here, and I'm going to put $2 each way, or $10 each way, or $5 each way, and see how I go. And therefore, I would say, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to have to put some skin in the game just to prove that I'm not just saying it. I've got a ticket that says here, I won. And so I started doing that, and as I said, I had 10 in a row. And then I thought, great. Then I start to get cocky. Oh, I'm going to win the next one. And then the next race, I fail miserably. Following exactly the same principles, the horse comes nowhere. And I thought, why? That didn't make any sense. It just didn't make any sense in regards to how it was going to work and why that was happening. You can't have this consistency of winners and then all of a sudden follow the same principles and just have this one that just loses. It just didn't make any rational sense as such. But here was your horses out of that race, and you can see that Mars, the only Mars-related horses that I could see was Henry, but also had Flying Fortress and Seattle Sailor. Now, there was a key in this, and this will all come out as you go along. When you see, say, a race like that with Mars on the midheaven, you need to make sure the race winner is going to be the horse in the race that is just 100% that planet. It can have combinations like you're seeing, like a flying fortress. A fortress could be because it's war, that's why Mars is in there, or to protection in war. Sailor, being Mars slightly. All of those things, they won't come into consideration if you've got a planet that's just 100% that particular horse race.